Part 29. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 281. Tao Ran is far ahead in points. Although the number of points for the first place is not displayed in the rankings at all, the scores of the following ones are all disclosed. So it can be seen that the second place on the list at this time is 3. Third place, more than 2,000 points. The next few are all around 1,000 points. Most of the others have less than 300 points. It is said that it is not open to the public, but the facts are semi-transparent. Tao Ran laughed. Number 100 can guess that she is the first place, and the others are not stupid, so they must have thought of it too. With her current points, if she doesn't take out the points, but instead forces everyone to collect points, even if she doesn't get resented by others, she will be jealous sooner or later, right? Even if their team still trusts her, sooner or later other outsiders will be eyeing her, right? She just happens to be afraid of trouble. Returning to the mall, she saw that each toolkit cost 3,000 cents. Number 100, so, sister, don't blame me for being unkind. The main thing is that here, you are the only one who can afford to replace the toolkit. That's the truth. Sister, actually I think what we need most is the one with 9,999 points at the end of page 10 of the mall. 9,999 points? Is there any fool who would change this? She turned the pages and found the product number 100 mentioned. It works. 9,999 points can be redeemed for a generator set. The devil's temptation? If this were changed, wouldn't it mean that we would be impoverished all of a sudden? After finally collecting all the points, you change this thing and start over again? Tao Ran narrowed his eyes. What do you mean? Why are you telling yourself this? Do you seem so stupid, like someone who would exchange points for a generator? If I had that thing and the tools, I could use my talents. No 100's eyes shone. When the time comes, I can make electric tools, build electric weapons, and pull up power grids. I can do many things. People like us can stay here for a year, let alone a month. Oh, Tao Ran gritted his teeth. It didn't matter to her. She didn't have the points anyway. She went directly back to the tool bag and reluctantly pressed the redemption button for 3,000 points. A toolkit appears. Okay, can you stop trying to figure her out now? Now she only has more than 2,000 points. Looking at the rankings again, Tao Ran frowned. He just dropped from first to third, but he still stood out. Number 100 also planned to fulfill his promise and redeem his points, but was stopped by Tao Ran. Keep yours. Save up, Tao Ran smiled. After all, you are the one who is going to replace the generator, so work hard. Number 100 scratched his head. From last night to now, he had taken advantage to get so many points. He is self-aware and does not think he can accumulate enough points in a short period of time. Number 100 squatted down and opened the tool bag that Tao Ran had bought. There was only one of the oldest saws in it, and the rest were hammers, nails, and rulers. I'm sorry, number 100 didn't expect it either. This is too tasteless. Tao Ran's heart ached. 3,000 points, that's it? If I had known earlier, I might as well have bought 10 big knives. Tao Ran stopped everyone else who was discussing and making statistics, planning to coordinate the tool exchange. I'll change it, those people have very few points. 300 is a high score. At this point, they might as well keep it in exchange for food. In front of everyone, Tao Ran exchanged 5 long knives in one go. Well, now she only has 1,000 points. After falling out of the top 10, she felt relaxed and no longer worried about becoming a target. The goods she had exchanged were all under her feet, and everyone looked at her with admiration again. So many points, just like they were scattered, what an atmosphere. She also helped them keep their points. What a sense of justice. Number 44 is worthy of being a leader, and he really wants to lead them to complete the mission. If she doesn't act as a leader with such high integrity, who will? Many people said that as long as number 44 gives an order, they can do anything. Tao Ran, everyone just needs to work together. It's time to work. Number 100 got on the tree-hole boat and took people to find wood. The remaining people are responsible for selecting wood, cutting it, and sawing it for paddling. Xiao Tian found Tao Ran. Sister, I have more than 1,000 points, what can I exchange for? No need, Tao Ran rubbed Xiaoshan's head. This is a child after all. It is easy to earn points for being cute in the early stage, but it may not work for being cute later. He had better save his points and strive to leave. Keep your points for now. If my sister needs it, I'll get it from you. Sister, do you have no points anymore? Xiao Tian took a can of meat strips and put it in Tao Ran's hand. Tao Ran subconsciously pressed the button on his chest again. At first glance, there was only 1,000 left just now, but now it has increased back to more than 2,000. She raised her eyes to look at the sky. Was she so moved by her selflessness? So the big guys behind the scenes are generous? Or was it because they had a bad taste and saw that she was afraid of getting into trouble, so they wanted to push her back to the number 1 position and watch her get beaten up? Will they fight among themselves? Or maybe the bosses want to know if she is really so selfless, and will she redeem it for a generator when she saves 9,999? Tao Ran sat on the highest branch, crossed his arms and looked at the sky, smiling sweetly again. Since God is about to give her a big responsibility, since she can't keep a low profile, since she is the chosen daughter, then she won't be polite. If you have the ability, use the points to kill her. Tao Ran turned off the panel and devoted himself to helping. After the wood was selected, several strong men, each with a knife, cut off the crown branches, cut off the tree roots, and only took out the thick middle section of the wood, and then worked together to drag the tree body. According to No 100's idea, everyone will ride on the tree and rowing later. But they gave it a try. Doesn't work. The tree body will sway or even roll on the water surface if the force is slightly uneven. The boys tried 5 or 6 times, but they were all rolled into the water. Number 100 also directed people to cut wooden boards and planned to use nails to nail them on both sides of the tree to balance them like wings. However, either the saw was not strong enough or the way they used it was wrong. The saw broke after cutting less than half a meter. The man was silent, the woman sighed, and Tao Ran was heartbroken. This 3,000-point thing is so good. Therefore, the only tool that can be used is the long knife. However, Tao Ran is the only one who is good at using a long sword. This matter was handed over to her again. After 2 hours of hard work, Tao Ran and a few other boys finally worked together to produce several long wooden boards and help nail them to both sides of the tree. She slumped against a branch. Number 100 also came to rest and told her that his points had risen to second place. 2,998. Oh, Tao Ran responded. Normal. He has been taking the lead in building ships, and his scores are definitely rising fast. Eh? Is that you? Number 100 suddenly said. What? Tao Ran couldn't help but press the button on his chest, and then he felt depressed again. What is viciousness? Her points have increased to 2,999. 1 point more than number 100. No more, no less, just 1 point. Number 100 said he was in second place, so she. The rankings were opened, and sure enough, the red ranking she was in was exactly number 1, wasn't it? The first is understandable. But why is it only 1 point more than the second place? She raised her eyes to look at the sky. Sure enough, the bosses all had evil intentions. They were all waiting to see whether she would be ripped apart or whether she would be completely selfless, right? No matter what, anyway, this at least shows that she has become the heroine again in this plot. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 282. When they were busy building boats, many people went into the water directly wearing life jackets. There were many sharp objects on the water surface, so the life jackets suffered a lot of wear and tear. Tao Ran bought 20 more life jackets from the mall. Not only is she generous, but she also wants to see if she has really become the target of evil intentions. 600 points were redeemed. 10 minutes later, Tao Ran called out to number 100 again and asked him how many points he had now. Not surprisingly, she still ranks first in the rankings, and her score is still only 1 point more than the second-placed number 100. Tisk tisk. So, it couldn't be an accident this time? Fine. If you have the ability, increase her points to 9,999 now. She wants them to see her choice. The project of rebuilding the ship was finally basically completed at dawn. While the front end of the tree-hole boat was reinforced, it was also transformed into a pointed nose. The mast crossbar was erected, and 2 vines were removed from the vine net. They were twisted tightly into one and used as rope supports for the sailboat. The sail is also ready. Sail was also redeemed by Tao Ran with points. Now she doesn't feel bad at all. Anyway, these points are gone and they will come back soon. At least for a short time. So she might as well gather more wool now. Therefore, in addition to buying another telescope, she also changed into several sets of jackets and pants to make sails. There was no canvas in the mall, so I had to make do with these clothes. There was a middle-aged woman who was very good at sewing. She cut clothes with a knife and tied them with rattan. She didn't waste any fabric and even used zippers. According to the requirements of number 100, she made a perfect canvas. After getting ready, everyone ate, drank, rested and recharged their batteries, waiting for the sun to rise before setting off. At this time, the system also released the second public message after arriving on the island. The red scrolling subtitles told them that there were only 427 players left from the 468 players a few hours ago. There are 41 fewer people. So far, the survival rate is only 40%. While everyone was sighing, they were once again extremely grateful. Unite to make all 34 of them whole again and survive. Everyone has his own value, everyone can find his or her own place, and human beings can overcome all difficulties to make progress. Isn't unity and cooperation one of the most important qualities? This is the real way to survive, right? The previous judgment was correct. Although the water level has dropped slightly after such a long time, it was still very high after 2 aftershocks occurred before dawn. They must leave as soon as possible. As the sun rose, everyone encouraged each other and then everyone set off. The tree-hole boat serves as the bow, and 2 tree trunks more than 10 meters long are tightly connected to the back. The 3 boats are firmly connected together by vines and twisted ropes. There are 4 people in the tree-hole boat, the sailing hand holds the sail, the swimming expert holds the balance, and Tao Ran knows Kung Fu and stands at the front to explore the path, and directs the strong man, and cooperates with them to use long wooden sticks similar to bamboo poles to line up the path ahead. Obstacle. The remaining 30 people sat separately on the tree. After finding the wind, they adjusted the 3 boats and started heading towards the mountainous area in the center of the island. It went more smoothly than expected. The wind direction was very helpful. Going with the wind saved a lot of effort. If everyone paddles together, the speed is not slow. They took turns rowing without stopping, and when it was past noon, they were halfway through the boat. It seems that reaching the mountainous area before sunset should not be a big problem. At this time, after eating the cookies, everyone was extremely tired and chose to rest for half an hour. Taoran started meditating again. She soon heard a faint cry of help. Many people heard it. Through the telescope, they found someone calling for help on a tree almost 500 meters away. Number 100 molars, it turns out it's them. Taoran took the telescope and chuckled. Among those asking for help were acquaintances. That is, number 22, who used the conductive telescope to harm her, and the brain-dead number 98. No, 98's love reputation is well deserved. Taoran had warned her before, but she obviously didn't listen, and she is still hanging out with the man number 22. In addition to number 22 and number 98, there were 3 other people with them. 5 people in total. I don't want to save them, Xiaotian said sullenly. They attacked me and sister number 44, and even bullied me while my sister was away. They are really bad. Number 100 was even more angry. They are just liars and robbers. He would never forget that the 2 men defrauded him of his conductive flashlight, but did not give him food and water as promised. At that time, they clearly knew that he had nothing and 0 points, but they still let him starve to death and left so decisively. Number 11 said, the team needs stability, not garbage. Let's just pretend we didn't see it. Number 11 said what everyone was thinking. Thank God they can trust each other now. Bringing in outsiders will not only break the current peace, but also make number 44, the soul of the team, disgusted by number 100, the most knowledgeable person. There is no need for them to gamble. We can't seat another 5 people here. The wind direction is just right now. If we change the direction, it will take a lot of time to get to the 5 people. If the wind direction is wrong, we may waste several hours. Maybe we won't be able to go up the mountain before dark. That's right. The prerequisite for saving others is that we can protect ourselves. If we go up the mountain in darkness, we don't know for sure what we will face. Those people have robbed number 100, number 44, and number 14, which shows that they are not good people. We can't take risks. Everyone, you say something to me. At this time, there is a consensus. The more difficult the situation is, the more valuable the word stability becomes. So, everyone unanimously decided to ignore those people. Since those are evil people, they bring it upon themselves, so naturally they do not need to bear any psychological burden. After nearly 4 hours of hard work, a group of 34 people finally landed safely. It feels so good to step on land. Everyone was so exhausted that they lay down on the mud with their arms and legs spread out. Several people cried with joy. I was both thankful that I could completely escape the natural disaster, and I was also moved by this exhausting but extremely inspiring solidarity and cooperation that lasted for nearly a day and a night. After resting for half an hour, a group of 34 people set off again. As the team has more experience, mutual help has become a tacit understanding. When the vine is pulled, the stronger ones take the initiative to go to the front or back, and let the women and the elders walk in the middle. Everyone holds the vine, which is safe and prevents them from getting separated. Taoran took Xiaotian with him to lead the way. She used her sword skills all the way, cutting through thorns and obstacles, and finding a way out of nowhere. Several others cooperated vigorously to open the way, which greatly facilitated future generations. As the sun sank below the horizon, they finally found a valley. The vast green shade and the flowers all over the ground are simply lovely. Everyone was extremely tired and put down their backpacks and weapons one after another, planning to spend the night in this area. Taoran followed his usual routine and climbed a tree to observe his surroundings. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 283. Taoran climbed up the tree and felt that the scenery in this area was amazing. The entire river valley green space is surrounded by lush forests, and there is a gurgling stream not far away, which makes it feel like a hidden paradise. This area is quite suitable for setting up camp. Probably because she was standing high and had a different viewing angle, she noticed that there were a few places on the green ground where the color was different, obviously darker. At this time, suddenly, a dense forest behind the green space was filled with birds. But within a few seconds, calm returned. It's like it's all an illusion. Taoran got off the tree and walked to the two green areas with the wrong colors. I touched it with my hand and found that it was stained with a layer of black dust. She suspected that these were traces left by the fire. Otherwise, the green space is empty. Yesterday there were both strong winds and showers, as well as a strong tsunami. What kind of dust would not be blown away by the strong wind? So, has anyone been here before? According to previous reports from the system, there are more than 400 missionaries in existence. It is normal for someone to climb the mountain before them. Just where are those people? Did you leave? But such a good place, even she wanted to keep it, would it be abandoned? She doesn't believe it. Slightly uneasy. Then, when she scanned the crowd, she found that one person was missing. Have you gone to relieve yourself? Yes, everyone has been holding it in for a long time. It's normal to slow down. Then, after waiting for another 5 minutes, guy number 30 came over. It's really not right. Number 11 has never come back. He just said he was going to collect some firewood to make a fire. There is no reason to go for such a long time. Number 11 and number 30 have a good relationship, and they were together all the way. Where did number 11 go? Number 11 is a smart young man and the first person to trust Taoran. Over there, number 30 pointed to the woods. Let's go find it together. That direction, Taoran remembered that it was exactly where the flock of birds flew out just now. No, I'll go by myself. It's not that Taoran wants to take risks, but that she feels it's more convenient for her to take care of herself, whether it's fighting or escaping. If I don't come back in 10 minutes, you should be careful. There must be something wrong with that area. She wore a jacket, put a dagger in her pocket, picked up the big knife and left. Number 11 was indeed arrested. As soon as he entered the forest, his head was covered and his mouth was covered. Then, a dozen fierce men with bows, arrows, and swords appeared in front of him. Boy, this is our territory. You came to our door yourself, a group of villains laughed ferociously. It turns out that not long after starting the mission, this group of guys with low bottom lines formed a small group because they had similar odors and robbed and injured people along the way. They grabbed a map and knew that there was water on the mountain and it was livable. They started walking through the forest during the day yesterday and planned to go up the mountain. The forest was particularly dangerous, with many ferocious beasts. In the end, the group of more than 20 people sacrificed nearly half of their lives and suffered many injuries, and finally reached the mountainous area shortly after dark. They were very lucky. Going up the mountain first allowed them to avoid the tsunami, and they also got a lot of bonus points, which allowed each of them to switch to their favorite weapons. They finally chose this green space to rest. At noon today, after they woke up, they suddenly found someone rowing a boat near the mountain. At that time, they agreed that they would occupy this mountainous area and not share it with others. In addition, not only must all comers be driven away, but they must also be looted. And this outstanding green space can just be used as bait. So they tidied up the green space and just waited for people to come. But they soon discovered that the plan would not go smoothly. Because the people who came were not only very organized, but also in large numbers. When they saw the people landing on the island, they roughly counted and found that there were about 30 people, almost twice as many as them. They could only change their mind. It was getting late anyway and it was going to be night soon. They planned to simply wait until dark and the group of people were asleep before making a sneak attack. It will be much simpler then. So, a dozen big men hid in the woods, planning to observe secretly. Everything is going smooth. The new team was unprepared and fell apart as soon as they reached the green space. But who would have thought that the other party, number 11, would actually discover them? Number 11 likes this team very much. He was the first person to follow Taoran up the tree and helped others climb the tree. He has regarded himself as the backbone of this team in his heart. So along the way, he began to worry about the team just like Taoran. After the team selected a green space to rest, he decided to seize the opportunity to collect some firewood before it was completely dark. But as soon as he entered the forest, he found a footprint. The shoe prints were clearly the same as his footprints, so they must have been exchanged shoes from the mall. In other words, there were missionaries who went up the mountain earlier than them. He suddenly had the same thought as Taoran. Now that the visitor has gone up the mountain and arrived at this place, how could he abandon such a good place? Why give up? Could it be that you gave it to them voluntarily? I don't know if he was unlucky or good. When he subconsciously looked around, a strong wind happened to blow by, and the branches above his head moved and made a clicking sound. Number 11 looked up and met a pair of eyes on the tree above. The big man on the tree also secretly cursed his bad luck. He hid well, but unexpectedly, the wind blew and the branches in front of him moved, catching his eyes. He turned aside and made a sound, which was discovered by others. Naturally, their plans had to change again. In order to prevent number 11 from spoiling the plan, the group of people who were hiding around appeared to take action. The big man on the tree also quickly got down from the tree. Number 11 failed to resist and was captured alive. Because of this, the birds in this area were frightened and flew around. This group of people dragged number 11 and walked dozens of steps deeper into the forest. After that, number 11, who had his mouth covered, saw a dozen big men surrounding him, each with evil intentions in their eyes. You have to pay a price for crossing this road. The group of people snatched No. 11's dagger, searched behind him, and took away half a pack of meat strips from his pocket. Number 11 was lucky that his bag was left on the green space. The group of robbers discussed it. If they catch number 11, the other team will definitely know it sooner or later. By then, their plan to act in the middle of the night will no longer work. The best way is to take action before the other party reacts and take it by surprise. Capture the thief first. Capture the king first. The big man with the number 299 spat out the grass in his mouth and said with a sinister smile. So, a group of people surrounded number 11. As long as you point out who is your leader, we will let you go. So what if the other party is more than 30 people? As long as there is no leader, it will naturally be a mess. Their plan was to shoot the opponent's leader with bows and arrows, and then a dozen people rushed out with weapons. The opponent was caught off guard and shocked by the death of the leader. Naturally, they would not be their opponents in the panic. As long as the supplies of more than 30 people are snatched away, they will no longer have to waste points for survival in the future. If this group of people are forced to exchange all their points into useful necessities and weapons, then they can spend the remaining 29 days comfortably. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 284. Number 11 doesn't want to talk. He is very clear about the current role and significance of his team. If it weren't for this team, many of them wouldn't have survived last night, including him perhaps. He understands better that if he sells number 44, the team will be disbanded in an instant, and the remaining people will become nothing more than fish in the case. Not only will he directly harm number 44, who is kind to him, but he will also indirectly harm the other 33 brothers and sisters. This is a survival game that involves more than just supplies. Those points are also related to everyone's life. He can't do it. Thinking of the hardships along the way, he even shook his head. So, he gritted his teeth and said nothing. Number 299 and others did not expect that this number 11 would be so stubborn. For a moment, fists, legs and feet rushed towards him. Ataoran suddenly appeared in the grass on the side. Elder brother. There is no other choice but to be exposed. When she found it, she saw number 11 being beaten. Number 11 was seriously injured. Not only had he curled up into a ball, he was almost unconscious. He was so loyal, she couldn't ignore him. She didn't have time to go back to find helpers. She was afraid that number 11 would be beaten to death and maimed. Even if she finds more people, the 11th will definitely be used as a blackmail by these guys, and it will be just as troublesome then. So Taoran stepped forward. At least number 11 doesn't need to be beaten. And since these people had their own agenda, she naturally wasn't worried that she would be in danger. The worst thing is that she has a lot of points. She smeared some mud on her face and made her whole body dirty, and then she appeared. Don't hit my brother. Please. Taoran burst into tears as her acting skills came to a head. She didn't wait for the opponent's bow and arrow to aim at her, then she slipped and fell to the ground. She also didn't forget to raise the knife with both hands, holding it tremblingly in front of her. He is so ugly that he is both cowardly and useless. After several big men looked at each other, they started laughing. The little girl's hands were shaking. She obviously had no strength to tie the chicken, but she actually came to the door. Please let my brother go. Brother, how are you? There were tears in Taoran's eyes, half worried, half scared, and the look of crying was even more ugly. When number 11, who was beaten half to death, looked up and saw number 44, his heart felt hot and his eyes were red. He really didn't expect that number 44 would come to save him so quickly, let alone that number 44 would take risks for him. Run, run quickly! Blood dripped from his mouth. Brother, I won't give up on you. While he was talking, several big men came up and surrounded Taoran. Little girl, with your small body, it's a bit funny to drag a big knife around. Come on, I'm your brother too, can I help you carry it? A big man smiled and stretched out his hand. Do not come. Taoran gritted his teeth, finally picked up the knife, and slashed it out. However, this time it obviously did not pose any threat. Instead, it was blocked by the longbow in the hands of the big man on the opposite side. Taoran's hand shook and his sword fell to the ground. The big men laughed again. Seeing that the atmosphere was completely different from just now, Taoran breathed a sigh of relief. Well, her performance was obviously very successful, and it did a good job of numbing this group of people, making them think that she really had no offensive power. This reassured her a lot. It should be said that what she is most confident about is not her martial arts skills, but her acting skills. Her crying scenes are always genuine. Taoran pretended to grab the knife that fell on the ground. Naturally, he was not as fast as the big man, so he threw it away and was covered in dirt again. The next second, the knife was placed on her neck. She waved her hands repeatedly, please, don't kill me. Is this your brother? The big man pointed at number 11. He saved me and gave me food. He is my brother. The big men laughed, they turned out to be that kind of brother and sister. It's true love, and I'm not afraid of life and death. So funny. Taoran saw evil thoughts in their eyes and stopped them in time. I heard what you just said. I will help you identify the leader of our team. Oh. I also know the points of our team leader and many secrets of the team. As long as you promise to let my brother and I go, I will help you. Number 299 came forward, I am the leader here, I promise you. We can let your brother go. After killing their leader, these two people can be captured again if they are let go. It depends on your mood then. Tao Ran nodded and was about to step forward when number 299 stopped her and asked her to hand over everything she had on her own initiative. Tao Ran took out the dagger and cried even harder. My brother and I also have a bag, which is in the green space below. I only have less than 300 points in total, and I have exchanged supplies. I really have nothing else. She turned the bag over. Number 299 then let Tao Ran go and walked over. It doesn't matter, after they take action, everyone and everything will be theirs. Tao Ran quickly stepped forward to help number 11, telling him to speak as little as possible. Brother, hold on. There is a medicine box at No 98. Number 98? Number 11 knows that there is no number 98 in their team. So number 44 was hinting to him that everything she said was false. Tell me, who is your team leader? A sword hung around No 11's neck. Tao Ran, yes, it's number 22. He has 64 length hair, big eyes, thin lips, and likes to laugh. He wears a dark green jacket from the mall. I heard he is a rich second generation from a good family background. Tao Ran was talking nonsense seriously. The leader she gave must be a number that was not in their team, so she could only choose one person randomly. The best option is to have a grudge against her. She subconsciously thought of numbers 73 and 22. But after she threw number 73 in the woods, who knows whether he is dead or alive, so don't reveal the truth. Therefore, it can only be the 22nd. He looks like a human being, and he goes around trying to make friends, and he does look like a capable person. Moreover, he is still alive and still trying to survive in the tree behind, so there is no need to worry about revealing the truth. Even if she retaliates. Number 22. Boss, I know this person among the big guys opposite. There is someone who really knows number 22. That number 22 is very good at socializing. With just a few words, he made a beautiful girl follow him wholeheartedly and even gave him points. Yes, it seems to be the number 98 they just mentioned. I have seen 22's ability to win over people before. That guy very hypocritical. Tao Ran was happy. Thanks to the jacket he wore, otherwise his number 44 badge would have been exposed. God knows if anyone would know about his heroic deeds, or if anyone would think that he is the person number 1 on the ranking list. She also concentrated on it, always ready to change tools from them all. If the truth is revealed, she will have no choice but to go hard on him. Tao Ran and number 11 were taken to a patch of grass not far from the green space. Point out which one is No 22. 299 gestured below. You let my brother leave first. After my brother leaves, I will tell you. Number 299 found it funny again. You stupid bitch who thinks you're smart. They have bows and arrows in their hands. If they really want to kill number 11, he will never be able to escape from their hands unless he has wings. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 285. Number 299 readily agreed. Okay. We can give number 11 1 minute to leave. Number 11 was seriously injured and could not walk back to the green space for less than 3 to 5 minutes. As long as you point us to your leader, we will let you go. Tao Ran nodded. No 11's hands were tied with vines and his mouth was gagged. Tao Ran pulled number 11, brother, hurry up and hide first. Number 11 shook his head. Leave me alone. I'll be fine. Leave quickly. Tao Ran pushed number 11 directly. No 11's leg slipped and he fell down, rolling into the grass below. For a moment, no one else could be found from their position. Tao Ran complied with 299's request, stretched his neck and searched among the 30 people below, and finally frowned and said, "Not here on the 22 ND. Not there." Number 299 turned to look at the subordinate who just said he knew number 22. Boss, I really didn't see no 22. You won't lie to us, will you? 299 put a dagger on Chaoran's neck. How dare I? As he spoke, Chaoran's eyes turned red and he cried again. I'm not lying, I really wasn't there. He might have been in that tent on the 22nd, or he might have gone exploring. Looking at number 299, there was actually a tent below. What Chaoran gestured to was the tent that belonged to her and Xiao Tian. Xiao Tian sympathized with her hard work and felt that she couldn't do anything. Not only did she rely on her to guide her all the way, she didn't even need to spend points, so she felt very guilty. He had just said it when they went up the mountain, saying that he would let her stay in the tent tonight, and that she would not be on guard duty tonight, so that she could have a good sleep. No, as soon as he arrived at this green space, the child started to find two brothers to help him set up the tent. Chaoran made up nonsense, in our team, only number 22 has a tent. That's where he and number 98 live. Hey, no one was seen in number 98? Then my guess just now is correct, the two of them must have entered tent, or are we going to explore the mountain over there together? She deliberately led number 299 to have wild dreams. Number 299 definitely still wants to carry out a sneak attack. Then she gives him a chance. If number 299 feels that number 22 and number 98 are messing around in a tent, then he can shoot that tent. So, these bastards couldn't kill the leader, and they were exposed immediately. If number 299 feels that number 22 is taking a woman to explore the road, then for number 299, this is also an excellent opportunity to launch an attack. Why don't you take advantage of the fact that the opponent is leaderless and wait for the daylily to cool down? No 299's dagger was still holding against Chaoran. Which of you guys has the skills? Don't worry. There is no one with real ability here. Chaoran was trembling all over. The reason why we got together is just to survive, but in fact we have quite different differences. We have had several arguments along the way. Being able to reach the mountainous area mainly depends on luck and wind direction. Although there are many of us, you can also see, the old, weak, women and children, all are uneven. Number 299 naturally saw it. He just saw it clearly. Among this group of about 30 people, there were actually children, old people, several women, and even the weakling number 100 who had been robbed of the map by him before. The combat effectiveness of these people can almost be ignored, right? Looking around, there were only a few young men holding swords who seemed to be opponents. Therefore, in terms of numbers, our side is not at a disadvantage. Because of this, number 299 got some reassurance. Number 299 waved his hand, signaling the most powerful among them. The ones with knives would go down first and attack upon his signal. And he himself will shoot at the tent together with the other two archers. Shoot the tent first, and then shoot the strongest men in the crowd. Although their archery accuracy is not particularly good, they can always gain something from random arrows. After their round of shooting ends, let the brothers hiding behind the tree below attack with all their strength. The opponent's ragtag group was caught off guard and would never be their match. As for the crying Chaoran, he was naturally not in the eyes of those people from beginning to end. Can I go? Chaoran wiped away tears. Number 299 glanced at her, same as number 11, tied up. I'm going up. I promise not to hinder you or cause trouble. Don't worry. Chaoran bowed to number 299 and stepped back. Number 299 sneered. He was too lazy to waste time and let people use vines to tie up the woman. He looked away when he saw the woman staggering, rolling, and rushing towards the dense forest above. A monk who can escape cannot escape from the temple. Sooner or later, this little girl will fall into their hands. When they catch number 11, why worry about the little girl not showing up? When the time comes, let's reward the brothers. Number 299 took his two brothers, each with a bow, and aimed at the tent below and pulled the string to take aim. Just as the three were about to shoot, they found that everyone below them suddenly gathered together, and then divided into several groups to look around, and even shouted number 44, number 11 together. Number 299 was stunned. He knows number 11, but who is number 44? Number 44? Going up the mountain on the 44th? Number 44, yesterday's man of the hour, who else doesn't know? I heard from a brother that she is a beautiful woman, but just like this woman, she took care of a few people from number 73 yesterday and even carried a big knife around. Cold sweat broke out suddenly. Number 299 knew something bad. Could it be that the woman who was with them just now was number 44? No wonder she is so brave and appears alone, no wonder she walks with a big knife. What the hell? That woman is so good at acting. Why don't you become an actor? Those tears seemed like they were free of money, but they were deceived without any suspicion. What the hell? I really cried because of my stupidity. And seeing the people below working together, they naturally understood that the other party was not just a mob, and that the organization was much better than they thought. And number 44 is very likely to be their leader. They actually took the initiative to let go of the other party's leader? Number 299 could almost hear his own teeth grinding. Looking back, number 44 was running into the woods. Those two legs moved so fast, their movements were light and as flexible as a squirrel. How could they not look as sickly and weak as they did just now? Stop, number 299 almost wanted to vomit out a mouthful of blood. Why didn't he think of taking off this woman's coat to see her number just now? What are you waiting for? The plan was cancelled, so of course we had to seize number 44 first. The arrow in his hand was released with a whoosh, and the two brothers behind him also shot arrows. Taoran was also angry. What bad luck! If they had called her 10 seconds later, she wouldn't have had to run away in such a panic. Just now, she was about to tap the button on her chest and redeem the points for weapons. The screen in front of her was Ichika, which turned into a white screen. Before she could select the item, an arrow had already been shot. She subconsciously avoided it, but still let the arrow pass her shoulder. She is hurt. Fortunately, she got down quickly and avoided two arrows that passed over her head. She rolled directly into the grass and quickly made a selection in the mall. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 286. When number 299 rushed into the patch of grass where Taoran had just disappeared, no one could be found. It was clear that the arrows they shot were on the ground, but where were they? There was nothing in the grass, nor behind the trees. When he looked up, he saw a figure suddenly swinging down from the tree. Then, with a sizzle, something moist sprayed onto his face. Damn it! Tears kept coming, coughing kept coming, and his respiratory tract was on fire. The tremendous pain his senses endured made all his attacks in vain. He subconsciously covered his face to catch him off guard, and then his ankle hurt and he lost all strength. Only then did he realize that number 44 was much stronger than he thought. Taoran's movements were almost done in one go. The anti-wolf spray bought from the mall gave number 299 a critical hit when he raised his head. Then, with a full kick, she subdued him directly and snatched the dagger from No 299's waist. Therefore, even though No 299's two men had arrived and fired an arrow, number 299 was already choked by Taoran and blocked in front of him. Then the arrow made a pop sound and flew directly into No 299's arm. Number 299 was already in excruciating pain due to the spray, and this time it made him want to bite his tongue even more. Taoran just dragged number 299 in front of him as a shield. The two men of number 299 were dumbfounded for a moment and did not dare to act rashly. There was also a dagger stuck across No 299's neck. Who would have thought that in just 10 minutes, the positions of the two parties would have been completely changed? This is called stealing the chicken but losing the rice. If you want to arrest your aunt and me, the prerequisite is that you can protect yourself. No 299's facial features were distorted by the spray, he couldn't jump because his ankle was twisted, and he was covered in cold sweat because of the pain from the arrow. He didn't even dare to say harsh words except to beg for mercy. As for the bottom, number 11 has arrived at the green space. After the blockage in his mouth was taken away, he started calling for help. The team below has quickly organized a team to rush over. The members of Team 299 did not wait for their boss to give the order and guessed that something had happened. At this time, they retreated and ran up the mountain. This time, the one being chased, leaderless and scattered, became person number 299. The 3-to-1 outnumbering and the difference in fighting spirit between the two sides actually determined victory or defeat. When No 299's two men looked at each other, Taoran understood that they were going to abandon number 299, gather their team and escape. Sure enough, the two men directly raised their bows, and without caring about the safety of number 299, they pointed their bows at Taoran and fired at random. Taoran had a living shield in hand, so he would naturally not let himself get hurt again. So, the unlucky one was number 299. He was pushed forward, and two more arrows from the two men entered his flesh. Seeing that there was nothing they could do about number 44, the two decided to seize the moment and escape before the opponent's large team arrived. But how could Taoran let the tiger go back to the mountain? She swung the dagger and hit the copper handle on the back of No 299's neck, knocking him to the ground. Then she picked up No 299's longbow and rushed to block the way. Those two people didn't understand how the longbow seemed to be alive in the hands of number 44, and how it could perform dazzling tricks. Yutong's moves were enough to defeat Taoran 1-on-2. The two of them couldn't survive 20 strokes under her hands, and she was beaten until their noses were bruised and their faces were swollen. Taoran regarded the two as flies and bugs and sprayed the anti-wolf spray 5 times without hesitation. In the end, the two of them were rolling around on the ground holding their heads and begging for mercy from their aunt. She just stood guard on the way up the mountain. One by one, the guys who fled below accepted her challenge. After seizing 3 sets of bows and arrows, she rubbed her injured shoulders and decided to retaliate with an eye for an eye and feast their eyes on everyone. Watch it. This is how the arrow is shot. Taoran stepped on number 299 and fully drew the bow. She learned it in the previous world and she played well. Whoosh. An arrow went straight into the knee of the enemy who was climbing the mountain to escape from the other side. Whoosh, again. An arrow hit the guy who was fleeing into the forest. Whoosh. This arrow directly took down the opponent who was slashing with a machete. Although the arrows did not miss the target, 4 of the 5 arrows hit him directly. The people on number 299 regretted that they were not a little more cautious today, so that they offended such a female devil whose force value was obviously higher than that of their own group. But now, it's too late to regret. 10 minutes later, everything was done. On the way forward, number 44 was switching back and forth with bows, arrows, and swords. Behind them were more than 30 missionaries who were gnashing their teeth and seemed to have a blood feud. The remaining men of number 299, after realizing that resistance was meaningless and would suffer a lot, finally they all raised their hands in surrender. More than a dozen people were all tied up and dragged directly to the green space. All their weapons were confiscated. The effect of the number 299 spray wore off and he finally calmed down, and the few arrows he hit didn't hurt his vital parts. When he woke up, he looked at Chaoran with a twitching face. Are you no 44? It's me. It's true. Then the 22nd. We haven't gone up the mountain yet. You are so good at acting, number 299 smiled bitterly. Because she was good at acting, they didn't take this woman seriously from the beginning. I am an actor by profession. You must be very useful to me. I am as happy as winning the best actress. Are you their leader? We don't have a team leader, but everyone really likes me. Number 299 is considered a discovery. Number 44 was surrounded by people. Some people handed her water, some helped her apply medicine, and some helped her wipe her face. But in fact, she didn't say anything or ask for anything. These people took the initiative to do this for her. The relationship between her and these people is not a superior-subordinate relationship, but a relationship of mutual concern. Therefore, she will go find number 11 in person, and these people are also worried about her safety. Unlike their team, they immediately dispersed when faced with a crisis. He is willing to be inferior to people like number 44. Let us go. Let's live in peace. Chaoran raised his eyebrows. Did he think she was stupid? As far as the behavior of this group of people is concerned, they are all accustomed to committing crimes. How can these people have any credibility? Not to mention that they have suffered a loss now. If there is a chance, they will make a comeback, right? Map. My map was stolen by No 299, number 100 recognized number 299 and then searched him with his own hands. Did not find. I called a few brothers for help. After searching all the bodies of more than a dozen people in team 299, I couldn't find a map. Number 100 was so angry that he went up and kicked him. Where's the map? Where is it? Before the game started, he didn't know that the tasks were related to points. At that time, he saw that points were easy to come by, so he even changed the map with 2,000 points. As a result, he is still feeling distressed even now. Don't worry, Chaoran smiled. Didn't you notice that they don't just have a map? Don't they have any other supplies with them? But they are burning, killing and looting all the way, so they must have enough supplies. So they must still have enough supplies on this mountain. There's a campground. When Chaoran said this, number 299 stared at her as if she had seen a ghost. Chaoran took a step forward and squatted in front of the group of people. So, whoever among you leads us to where your supplies are, will be free immediately. Remember, there is only one quota. I'll take you there. As soon as Chaoran finished speaking, 5 voices came out from the group of people who were tied to the ground. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 287. Chaoran always behaves with kindness and revenge. The person's way should be treated in return. These people robbed people and deserve to be robbed now. These people hurt people and deserve to be hurt now. If you want to steal her team's supplies to complete the mission, you will naturally have to double the compensation. Chaoran asked people to take aside the 5 people who had just expressed their willingness to take them to find supplies, and then asked the remaining people with a smile, "What about you? Is there anyone else willing to lead the way?" At this question, 2 more people raised their hands. Otherwise, those who know the current affairs are heroes. Are they the same as number 299? At this time, the 3 people on number 299 were miserable. Number 11 was directing people to return the punches and kicks that number 299 and the 3 people had just hit him with. The 3 people were surrounded and beaten violently. It was too horrible to watch. Number 299 is over. They still want to follow number 299. Therefore, their team has completely broken up. This is a survival game, and the biggest goal is to survive. There is an opportunity now, but if you don't seize it firmly, you won't even be able to survive tomorrow, let alone 30 days. So 3 minutes later, except for number 299, all the people on the other side raised their hands, indicating that they could lead the way. 2 more people said they wanted to join the number 44 team. This team is great. They saw it and were so envious. In addition to those who had just made concerted efforts to help each other, now everyone was also performing their duties, everyone was laughing and chatting, and the atmosphere was relaxed and joyful. Some people are gathering firewood to make a bonfire, some are helping around with medical kits, some are gathering pine oil to make torches, and some are looking for vines and big leaves. Their backpacks were all thrown into a pile, and their weapons were all thrown together. They didn't care who took whose food, and they didn't worry about who stole whose things. They had no doubts. Will number 44 hide his secrets while questioning them? They talked and laughed and trusted each other. Isn't this ridiculous? This is a survival game. If you are not careful, you will die. The guys in Team 299 couldn't figure it out. You must know that although their team has been working together in the past 2 days, no one could sleep well last night. Everyone was on guard against being attacked by one of their own in the middle of the night. Not long ago, we saw a team of 30 people coming for a sneak attack. After unloading their supplies, they left together on guard against each other, fearing that someone would take advantage of them. But in front of me, the group of number 44. This group of people does not look like they are playing a survival game, but more like a group of friends and colleagues coming out to play and team building in the wild. Are these all idiots and lunatics? Of course not. So they are envious and they want to join. On the 44th, I will take you to the place where we store supplies. I want to join you. I will do many things, I will. Sorry. We have no plans to recruit new members to this team for the time being. Taoran naturally refused. Are you crazy? The current stability is hard won and all unstable factors must be avoided. You want to escape unscathed, but now there is only one spot. But what to do? 13 of you have raised their hands. Who should this spot be given to? Taoran sat down and raised his head. Is that so? She raised her eyebrows. In order to show fairness, how about I auction this quota to you? Whoever gives more expressions and gives more points will get this quota. More than a dozen people on the other side were speechless. Let them betray, and let them compete for the place of betrayal? This woman is so poisonous. But in their hearts, why are they still ready to make a move? Why can't they all resist pressing the chest panel to check their points? Taoran had thought it over carefully. Those who rob others will always rob them. This is not only to replenish their own supplies, but also to prevent the other party from counter-attacking at any time if they have points. Therefore, they not only have to take away the other party's supplies, but also take away them of points. Only in this way can we feel slightly at ease. Who told their team to be soft-hearted? No one in the team was ruthless. They couldn't kill all the dozens of people on the other side, right? But how does she know how many points each person on the other side has? How do you get the other party to obediently come up with points? Letting the other party take the initiative is the best way. So Taoran came up with this idea. As soon as the auction started, everyone's background was almost exposed. I promise to keep my word. The man who leads us can be free. Then can you guarantee that those who are free will not be hunted down by your team? Everyone in our team just wants to live a good life, and we don't have that much free time. So I can guarantee it. The person who spoke immediately said that he was willing to exchange 500 points for freedom. I am willing to pay 600 points. Another person expressed his position. I'll give you 700 points. 800 points. Everyone was talking a lot, although they knew that number 44 was forcing them to reveal their points. What should they do? They want freedom, they don't want to be beaten, and they don't want to become like number 299. They don't want it to be over now. They are not sure where they will end up if they don't get that opportunity. 5 minutes later, number 165 expressed his willingness to pay 2,000 points in exchange for freedom. Others looked disappointed, and no one could add points. It can be seen that 2,000 points is their limit. Number 165 was taken out alone. Tao ran, replace a medical kit, 5 tents, and the rest with flashlights and lighters. Number 165 bit his lip and replaced all these things. Later, Tao Ran took a few people and followed him up the mountain. 15 minutes later, number 165 signaled them to open a patch of weeds, and a deep pit appeared in front of them. There are a total of 25 backpacks in the pit. There are number tags on the backpacks, and more than half of them are not owned by these guys. It can be seen that they were all stolen. Number 165 was released, but he carefully asked for. I have a total of 2,002 points, and I have exchanged things for you. Now I can't even open them all. Can you leave some food and drink for me? I can tell you the score of 299. Tao Ran agreed and gave him a pack of biscuits. Number 165 informed, no 299 score is the highest among us. How do you know? Because we were the first group of people to go up the mountain. The system had given rewards at that time and announced them publicly. The first one to go to the island on the 299th was directly awarded 2,000 points, but we were a step late, and each of us was only rewarded 800 points. Therefore, I estimate that the current number 299 has at least 4,000 points. Tao Ran thought to himself. Sure enough, this game still has main missions. It's interesting. When number 165 was released, he also took the initiative to express his wish to stay in the mountains because there is water here. Are you sure the water is drinkable? One of our brothers tried it yesterday. It's not poisonous and you can drink it? Okay. As long as you don't appear in front of our team, we won't embarrass you. Thanks, thanks. Number 165 ran away. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 288. By the time we returned to the green space with 25 backpacks, the bonfire had been lit. I arranged for several people to pack and count the items in the backpack, and found that the team would not need to spend points to buy food for at least the next half month, so everyone had a full meal. I also found a few more tents in my backpack, so everyone can have a good sleep tonight, so everyone is in a good mood. At this time, they were too lazy to deal with number 299 and others. They only checked to make sure that the group of people were tied tightly, and then they lay down on the grass one by one. Tao Ran hid in the tent and checked his injuries. Fortunately, it was just a skin injury. After applying medicine and bandaging, there was basically no problem. That's good. She walked out. Someone tapped the button on his chest and asked everyone to take a look. There is another system message. The red text is scrolling and broadcasting. There are 399 existing players. There is also a series of notes at the back. The first all-member mission will be released at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Task. Only release the mission when the survivors are less than 40%. It's not easy to live anymore. Are there any extra tasks? The comfort just now disappeared in an instant, and the feeling of oppression came again. No matter what the task is, we can get it done. Yes. Can't you see after the past 24 hours? As long as we unite, nothing matters. Yes, if we are together, there is nothing we can't handle. Unconsciously, Everyone's fear of the unknown became much smaller because of their trust in the team. After cheering each other up, the atmosphere became relaxed and cheerful again. "Sister, you are so awesome," number 100 came to Taoran's side. Taoran knew what he was talking about, it was nothing more than her points. She also feels that she is awesome. Now her points are far ahead again, with a huge gap between her and the second place. Today, she took everyone to ride the wind and waves. When they docked to rest, her points soared to 5,000. At this moment, after leading everyone to annihilate a hostile team, her points directly exceeded 8,000, and it was no surprise that she occupied the first place in the rankings. What about you? How much is it? 3,880, I didn't contribute much today, so I'm in third place. The second place has a score of 4. If number 165 did not lie, it should be number 299. Number 100 said, "Sister, if you work hard, you will reach 9,999 soon. I won't change the generator." "You will." "Won't. You are a kind-hearted person." "I won't consider this until I get 20,000 points." The moon crept up to the sky. Everyone had not slept all day and all night. They were already very tired. Only a few people were left to take turns, and everyone fell into a deep sleep. Nothing happened all night. There were no more earthquakes or tsunamis. The gang of number 299 had their hands and feet tied up all night and were separated, so they couldn't even secretly press the button to open the mall, so there was no threat at all. Taoran woke up at 4 o'clock. After practicing his internal skills a few more times, he found a place to practice his sword skills with a big sword on his shoulder. The experience of the past 2 days told her that in the remaining 28 days, her strength would probably be her greatest protection. She really didn't dare to slack off. Fortunately, she had practiced hard in the previous world, and she knew all of Yutong's techniques by heart. With her advancement of the inner skills and mental techniques, she was progressing very quickly. Therefore, when her moves are used, the power is visible to the naked eye. Number 299 was almost dumbfounded. He had regretted it hundreds of times after coming here overnight. If he and his brothers had just shot the woman to death with one arrow without showing any lust or contempt when they first met yesterday, how could so many things have happened? But looking at it now, he doubted that he could shoot her to death. Taoran also deliberately wanted to show off to him. After finishing a set of sword skills, he took the bow and arrow and aimed at number 299 and fired 10 consecutive shots. Don't move around, otherwise it's easy to miss. Every arrow she fired almost missed no 299's body. Only one arrow missed slightly. If he hadn't dodged quickly, it would have hit his head. Such torture made number 299 extremely miserable. His clothes were soaked with cold sweat, and he had no choice but to beg Taoran to let him go. The other villains saw this and became even more afraid of number 44, thinking that it would be better to be more knowledgeable in order to avoid suffering. Taoran sat in front of the group of people number 299 again. Number 299, if you bring out an item worth 4,000 points, I will consider letting you go. Number 299 gritted his teeth, 4,000. You are overthinking. Taoran, although you almost killed number 11 and me yesterday, I have a kind heart, so I will not kill you. I will only keep you and let you atone for your sins. Therefore, if you reject me, I can only let you become a living target for me to practice archery, or you become a human punching bag for number 11 to practice boxing. Number 11 was severely injured by these 3 men yesterday. He had several fractures on his body and 2 of his teeth were knocked out. He exchanged a large number of medicines at the mall and spent a lot of points to buy antibiotic injections. This tone was natural. 4,000 points, I don't have that much. I won't force you. but you must understand that stubbornness is suicide in the end, but starting from scratch may not be an opportunity. You choose. I will give you 30 seconds. If you don't make a decision, I will hang you upside down. Let's practice boxing for the brothers. I'll change. Seeing that number 30 had prepared vines to come up, number 299 immediately made a decision. For 4,000 points, he exchanged half of the medicine and half of the food as Chaoran requested. What about you? Chaoran asked the others. As long as we are let go, we are willing to hand over the points. Since the 299th number has been handed over, the others naturally have no confidence. Number 100 stepped forward. He had already written down everyone's bids during the auction opportunity last night. Now that he had seen everyone's numbers, he could roughly get an idea of their points by looking up the rankings. In the end, everyone in this group contributed almost 99% of the points. And they also quickly learned the so-called let go of number 44. They were taken to the place where Chaoran's team had landed. Chaoran cut off the vines connecting the tree hole boat and the two tree body boats. Her team needs a rest and doesn't want to experience any more open and covered fighting for the time being, so she plans to send away these scum who may become a hidden danger. Now is the time when the tide is low, just in time to send them off. So, number 299 and his two good helpers were still tied up and stuffed directly into the tree hole boat. However, Chaoran only left them a life jacket. When three people are together, there must be a story. Did number 299 still successfully drive two of his men? Or are the three fighting each other for the only life vest? Or maybe the two men disliked the injured number 299 and attacked him first. Who cares? These villains are all to blame for themselves. As for the other villains, only the vines on their feet were removed. They were asked to sit astride the tree boat and then pushed into the water. Since their hands were tied, they did not dare to move at all, for fear that they would fall into the water if they turned aside. Their fate is naturally left to God. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 289. Returned to the green space, waited for a while, and 8 o'clock arrived. Everyone clicked the button. So-called system tasks are also released. Red letter rolling, after 48 hours, the first shrinking circle will be carried out. All those who have not reached the mountainous area will be eliminated. Please take the time to enter the mountainous area. Above the red text, there is also a timer counting down. Friendly reminder, the earlier you arrive in the mountainous area, the more favorable treatment you will receive. The second round of missions will start in 120 hours. Stay tuned. Happy gaming. Chaoran and others were glad to have gone up the mountain earlier, but also felt speechless. In this way, they still cannot be purified. More than 300 people will soon gather in this mountainous area. One can imagine how lively and fights there will be. And the most speechless thing is that friendly reminder. What the hell? Preferential treatment? Are you talking about bonus points? They were all given to the group of number 299 early in the morning, right? Then the missionaries who go up the mountain in the future will definitely think that it is their team that has benefited. By then, these 30 or so people will probably become fat in the eyes of future generations. And obviously preferential treatment? Why are you deliberately provoking a dispute to watch the show? It would be troublesome if the latecomers united as one and targeted the 30 or so people among them. There is absolutely no need to say this reminder. This system is so confusing. Chaoran climbed up the tree again. Looking through the telescope, except for the two groups of people number 299 who were cleared out by them, there were indeed people starting to come to the mountainous area. At the front were 3 people on an orange boat, paddling hard. Take a closer look and you will understand. The 3 people must have exchanged more than a dozen life jackets, and after connecting them, they made a hovercraft. The wind and waves are not big at the moment, so the hovercraft is completely feasible, which is a good idea. It's just that the hovercraft is too light and floats when the wind blows, so the boat is very unstable and spins on the water from time to time. People should start going up the mountain by sunset today at the latest. No one will give up in the face of a shrinking circle. Chaoran got off the tree. We have to brace ourselves, choose our foothold before others arrive, and start making preparations to prevent being robbed. It's great here, can't we just stay here? We can't stay in this valley anymore. You can see it as soon as you go up the mountain. It's too conspicuous, and if you stay, you're asking for trouble. If this area is favored by number 299 and their team, it will naturally be coveted by others later. If someone comes aggressively, there's no way to hide in this area, it's too empty. Then let's go up. I think so too. If you stand high, you can have a clear view of the situation below, and you will not be easily attacked. Number 100, where is your map? Now they finally understand why a map requires 2000 points. It turns out that this map can also be zoomed in and out, giving a clear view of the entire mission area. Several hills are about the same height. Mountain number 1 is relatively gentle, easy to climb and descend, and has the largest area. But this mountain was the first one chosen by Chaoran and others. If it is too easy to climb, it will inevitably cause a large number of taskers to gather, which will be very troublesome. The area is too large, and it is inconvenient for them to define their own scope. Mountain number 2 has dense forests, rich vegetation, majestic tops, and a river winding through it. This mountain didn't catch their eye either. Because this mountain is so nice. There are abundant water sources and forests, so there must be many animals. If there are too many beasts, it will be very troublesome. Their team now has plenty of food and water, and their points status is also good, so there is no need to join in the fun. They selected Hill 3. The hardest to climb and the steepest. There is a dense forest slope on one side and a steep cliff on the other side. Judging from the natural terrain, mountain number 3 must be the least visited. In case they become the target of everyone's robbery, mountain number 3 is also easy to defend and difficult to attack, and is the safest. The group of people got ready and set off. After a night's rest, everyone was in good spirits. We repacked the supplies, planned the route, prepared compasses and other items, and made a stretcher for number 11. At 9:30, everyone set off towards the top of hill number 3. Chaoran was still at the front to clear the way, and the front and back of the team were protected by strong and healthy young men. Although hill 3 is difficult to climb, everyone supports each other and it is not difficult. During the break halfway through the journey, number 100 came to Chaoran's side. "Sister, how many points do you have?" "Don't worry about it, there won't be enough to replace the generator. You were so powerful this morning against the gang of number 299. Didn't you get a point increase? It's still over 8,000 points. It's early." Number 100 sighed, "It would be great if the points could be transferred." Chaoran saw no 100's disappointment pouring out of his mouth, which was also funny. "When we reach the top of the mountain, we don't know what we will face. There may be a lot of supplies that need to be replaced. The generator is not a necessity, so I really don't plan to replace the generator." The journey went smoothly, but when passing through the dense forest slope, they encountered a pack of wolves. A dozen wolves blocked the way. Chaoran, who was leading the way, played with his swords, and the silver light was dazzling. The wolves were obviously frightened and retreated more than 10 meters. Everyone passed by closely, and Chaoran led a few strong men to confront the wolves. The wolves probably realized that they were not numerically superior, so they made no next move, and finally left with the team. The earlier judgment was good, there were many wild beasts in these jungles. They also found many footprints on the damp mud in the forest. Extra large ones, some look like bear claws, and some look like those of large animals like rhinos. From now on, don't go into the woods alone. It's too dangerous. They also encountered a dense forest, which seemed to be a woven wall. It looked like a wall, but they discovered it was more like a spider web. Taoran and the others subconsciously cut through the net, blocking the road with their knives. Then, there was a scream from behind. Looking back, a spider about half the size of an adult was falling from the sky, landing directly in the middle of the team, cutting their team in two. "I'm sorry, I broke your web." Tao ran through the hare and pheasant he had just shot in front of the spider. "This is your apology. Can you give way?" Miraculously, the big spider really got out of the way. Tao Ran breathed a sigh of relief. She didn't take action for one reason. The spider was colorful and probably highly poisonous. She is afraid. It's easy to attack, and it shouldn't be difficult for their weapons to cut off the spider's arms and legs, but they don't understand this animal and don't know in what form its venom is discharged. So, it's better to be a little more cowardly. Treating a dead horse as a living horse doctor, she didn't even expect that the spider could understand her words. A group of people left quickly. "This is better. Let's quickly reach the top of the mountain to draw a boundary and survive the next 27 days. These ferocious beasts must be spiritual if they can grow so big. Let's not make enemies with them. With them around, we can better prevent outsiders. Target our team." After passing through the dense forest slope, there is a stone forest, and further up is the top of the mountain. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they finally reached the top of the mountain. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 290. The top part is nice. There are lush forests and flat land. It is indeed extremely advantageous to occupy such a high point. It's just that the telescopes exchanged in the mall are a bit useless. Now from a distance, only the entire mountainous area can be seen clearly. Tao Ran originally wanted to observe the group number 299 who was still floating in the water at noon, but now he was unable to find those people at all. At this time, everyone's chest buttons shook. When I opened it, I saw that a reward had arrived. This group of people is the first to reach the top of the mountain, and each of them will be rewarded with 1,000 points. Tao Ran raised his eyebrows and looked at the sky. Tut. Previously, number 299 was awarded 2,000 points for being the first to go up the mountain. Why is it that this time she was the first to reach the top of the mountain, but the reward was the same as everyone else's? Are you afraid that her points will exceed 10,000? Ah. Interesting. She put her hands on her hips and smiled toward the sky, then watched her points jump up little by little from 9910, 9,915, 9,921. Are they trying to give points over there? Not refreshing at all. Tao Ran began to discuss with everyone what arrangements and preparations should be made since he planned to settle here. There are enough tents, so there is no need to build any cabins. They plan to clean up the ground tomorrow, remove weeds and insects, and then place the tents together. Tao Ran suggested that they organize their manpower well. Divide everyone into several small teams, with the top of the mountain as the center and a radius of 1 kilometer around. They must be patrolled day and night to guard against animals, humans, and natural disasters. This naturally won the approval of everyone. She also proposed that starting tomorrow, she would like to take a few strong men to practice swordsmanship and archery. They must improve their team strength, otherwise the next time they encounter a stronger opponent than team number 299, it will not be so easy to get out of trouble. Everyone nodded again. They have long wanted to learn, but have not yet had the nerve to say it. This number 44 has no secrets at all, It's so interesting. Tao Ran then asked number 100 to think about whether he could design some traps or ways to prevent the beasts from coming up. He also asked everyone to brainstorm and put forward any requests and suggestions. No, you are right. We have no idea. We agree. No matter what kind of arrangements you make in the future, you can just give them your orders and you don't need to ask for our opinions, a middle-aged man said with a smile. If you need points, just say something. We will use all your points along the way. Yes, number 44, we will do whatever you say from now on. Our team really needs a leader. Needless to say, your contribution to the team is your responsibility. You will be our leader from now on. We agree. Everyone agreed. The day before yesterday, they were all at a loss, and each of them only had a pitiful few basic points. Since following the steps of number 44, they have not only avoided natural and man-made disasters, but also have a smooth journey. Now the lowest score among them is 1,000 or several hundred points. If this trend continues, as long as nothing unexpected happens, it won't be a problem for them to leave this game smoothly. Tao Ran refused. She didn't help everyone out of her selfless love. She found a trick to get points and needed to attract the attention of the big guys to get so many people around her. She is quite afraid of taking responsibility. In particular, number 100 is eyeing her points. If she wants to take on such an important responsibility, can she not benefit the people? 9,999 points? She was scared just thinking about it. Sure enough, number 100 came again. Sister, what's the score? It's not enough with 9,980 points. He not only ranks first in the score rankings, but also has a completion rate of 40% in the prediction task. Sister, if the points are up, just change the generator. If you still need points for other things, you can get them all from me. I will definitely not say anything. Is the generator that important? Rather than making traps, we might as well pull up an electric fence. Then we won't have to worry about wild beasts or anyone trying to trick us. Do you have the materials to pull up the power grid? How to pull it up? Didn't you notice? There are new materials in the tool column of the mall, all of them. Speechless. New. How? Are they all trying to gain points from her? Are you trying to tempt her to exchange points? Tao Ran narrowed his eyes and stared into the air. Tisk, tisk, bad taste. And she watched as her points increased from 9980 to 9990. Naked, teasing. She was even more speechless. No matter what she did that night, the points stayed put. Fortunately, she didn't want to change the generator, so she didn't mind at all. When they were having dinner, they found that someone had finally arrived at the foot of the mountain, and it was the three people who took the hovercraft. It was only then that they saw clearly through the telescope that among the three people, there were number 22 and number 98. Haha, I didn't expect it, it came quite quickly. Besides them, there are also several scattered groups near the foot of the mountain. Starting tomorrow, the mountainous area will become lively. Before sunset, Tao Ran and his men found a water source on the mountain, caught a rabbit and drank some spring water to confirm that the water was non-toxic. With water, I can finally take a shower. Unfortunately, there is no hot water. Tao Ran had been overworked in the past 2 days and had been sweating. Her body was already sore. Changing clothes would not help. She had to take a hot bath. But there was no bath bucket or kettle to boil water. She thought of her tree-hole boat. That thing was actually similar to a bathtub, right? She walked around in the forest, and finally found a suitable big tree. The hollow old tree is perfect. That's it, squatting inside is just fine. She asks Xiao Tian to pick up some pebbles by the stream and throw them into the fire to burn. When she and others worked together to roll the cut piece of tree wood to the water's edge, the pebbles were already burning hot. I washed the tree hole several times, wiped it with medical alcohol, added water and hot stones, and the water temperature quickly rose. The sail they made for the sailboat just happened to be hanging on the tree and circled around the barrel to keep warm and prevent prying eyes. With this tub, all the women took a hot bath. Only then did Taoran feel alive. Lying in the tent, she didn't want to move. Look at the points, 9,995. She was so sleepy that after giving a few words to the 3 people on duty outside, she fell asleep. When I woke up, the east was already white. The points are still 9,995. In contrast, other people's points have increased more than hers. Looking out through the telescope, I found that, as expected, the green space where they stayed yesterday has now become a gathering place for people who came later. One night passed, and now there were more than 10 people in the green space. Those people arrived in 2s and 3s last night, but now they have gathered together, and they are obviously willing to form a team. Taoran led a group of people to practice sword and sword skills, and then ordered people to start weeding and leveling the ground. Number 100 was very proactive and spent a lot of points to buy a complete set of weeding and hoeing equipment. A large group of people had been busy all morning. The mountain top and the ground were clean, and Taoran's points finally reached 9,999.